If you are just tuning in, you are listening to Level Up Nation, and I am your host, Stacy Preer, and I'm joined with co-host
Dustin Pritchard from Dustin Pritchard Real Estate Team.
Hello. So
Hey.
today we are it's kind of funny because you are our team. You're my leader. But as my team leader, we are talking about wanting to get back to work versus working to make money. Because we've kind of covered this before. There's definitely a couple different camps in this quarantine. The people who have to work and who are working overtime because some people can't work or they don't want to work because they're afraid of the pandemic. And then we have people that are sitting at home that are like, I want to go back to work. They're craving routine and a normal paycheck, because let's be real, it's been about 6 weeks, 7 weeks ish. And bills come in.
I think there's reverb. I think there's actually a bit of a third camp, and the third camp is the people that so some people want to get back to work, but they're choosing not to. They're choosing to sacrifice, right? So there's that third camp that I'd like to camp. Well, right? Yeah, exactly. Me too, right? So like realtors, essential service, yay! But that doesn't mean that you go out there and go crazy, right? That's we've actually been told very specifically that, you know, face to face and all this kind of stuff. So we're not going to get into that, but there's people that can go to work that are choosing not to go to work because they're doing their duty. They're doing their community service, right? They're helping to flatten the curve. They're doing their job. However, there's a lot of people out there that have to work, right? So there's a lot of people out there. Like I was talking to a family the other day. They both got laid off. And now they're hustling like crazy, trying to find anything that they could possibly do, because the CERB is just not going to cut it for them. They have mortgage and they have cars and they have all this stuff that the government's just not able to pay for them, right? And yes, they've done deferrals and things like that. It's just, you know, 4 kids. You know, my God, like you got to feed 6 people in a household and pay for all this extra stuff. CERB's just not going to cut it for you.
Yeah, I feel like hashtag pro-choice is going to mean something completely different after this quarantine.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And for anyone who's wondering what CERB is, that's the CERB. And that is the government handout that they are giving to people. So if you've made less than $1,000, I highly encourage you to go to the CRA website. There's 2 different ways that they're paying out the CERB or the CERB. Basically, you can go through CRA or you can go through that. Oh, I'm just brain farting now. The CERB.
Oh, I don't know. You know, so you can mess put it in. Oh, the internet is on fire today. All right. So that you go to the CRA website. Simple. Right? Just go to the CRA website and you can tap in that way. But, you know, for the people that have to go to work because you need the income to be able to survive and thrive, or not thrive, just to survive, you know, hats off to you. I know that you're staying safe. I know that you're doing your job to flatten the curve and to try to stay as safe as humanly possible. And you know what? I commend you for that. And there's no work shaming or anything like that. And if there's anybody that's judging the fact that you're going to work, again, you know, everybody's in a different boat. Everybody's in a different situation. And you're not going to get any judgment from us. That's for sure. But on the other side of the fence, you've got people there are people going out there that are not essential service, that are going out and working like crazy, taking advantage of this situation, right? And I was talking to actually one of our vendors the other day. And it's for lack of a better term, pissed him off, right? And I can relate to that because I've personally, and I know that you've done the same, and I know a ton of people on our team has done the same. We stood back, we stood down, right? We served our clients that needed serving, but we took our government's recommendations of not doing anything extra unless we actually absolutely had to and had to serve somebody because we're an essential service for that, not because we are awesome as realtors and everybody needs us right now, you know. And
I think And that's the thing too. I think the vendor that we're talking about, I think one of the things that he's most pissed off about is that he is a top performer. He is
Yeah,
a hungry wolf. He is,
very hungry.
someone who's pretty dominant in the marketplace. And of course he wants to be out there, and of course he wants to be doing that. And I think when he sees his competitors doing it, he's like, okay, so what do I do? Do I compete? Because that in sales, your natural instinct is to compete. You're either a hunter or you're a customer service or blah, blah, blah. Why can't I talk today? You're an order taker. So basically, yeah, you either hunt or you take orders, and you're customer service oriented. And I think all the hunters, they want to hunt. We're ready. We want to get our meat.
Yeah.
So I think that that's one of the things, like what you're touching upon is people who want to go back to work, but aren't. They're taking a stance back as per the recommendation, but are we going to be penalized for that? Are we going to suffer because our competitors are now the ones that are the forefront?
I call them moral hunters, right? The hunters, the entrepreneurs, the hungry people that love what they do, love serving, and are good at it, right? Really good at it, and are dominant in their industry, right? And there's a ton of them on our team. There's a ton of us, with the vendors that we deal with and all that. And I have a lot of respect for those people that have the capability to go out there and do it, but they're stepping back and standing down to do to be socially conscious and to be socially responsible. And hats off to you, man. Like for every single person that has the capability but is choosing to not, I respect that a tremendous amount. And I know that it's difficult because one of the most difficult parts of that is because that's kind of how we're wired. We're wired to go out there and achieve. We're out there to serve. We're out there to succeed. And then we're taking a choice to step back. But then what we're seeing is we're seeing other people going out there without the same kind of moral compass, I should say, maybe. And they're going out there, and I know for a fact that in every single industry out there, there's people that are taking advantage of this kind of a situation, right? And it's polarizing, man. It's hard. Like, do I want to get back to work? Yeah. Am I working right now as hard as I possibly can to serve my people virtually? Absolutely, 100%. Right? We've flipped our whole business model over just to be able to continue doing our jobs. But I know for a fact there's a lot of people out there that are kind of teed off, like totally.
And if you are a person that's out there that's listening or watching our podcast right now, hit us up in the comments. I want to talk about this. Let's carry on this discussion. Because if you're fired up about it, maybe we want to talk to you. Maybe we want you, maybe hypothetically, you should be on our podcast. So yeah, why don't you tell us how you really feel and put it below.
And you know what? That's for anybody. That's for anybody. If you're going out there and you're working and other people are standing down, you believe that it's okay for you to do that and you want to do that and it's an advantage, then let's talk about that too, right? It might be a little polarizing for you to do that, but if you got the guts to stand up and talk about your convictions, then let's do that. On the other side of the fence, if you're pissed off because you've stood back and want other people eat your cheese, then I get that too, 100%, because there's people out there selling don't eat my cheese. But that's what's happening, right? If you stand back,
sorry.
If you stand back and you're not going to work, somebody else is doing those sales. Right?
Eating your damn cheese.
Right? And so the whole time you're sitting there, you're an entrepreneur and you're like, I'm top of my game and I can't, and I'm not willing to go out there and take advantage of the situation. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
And my advice to anyone who's feeling that way, because I have had this conversation with someone before, I too am choosing to stand back. I want my clients to be healthy and safe. I want myself to be healthy and safe. It's the recommendation from our government. Doesn't make me a sheeple. It just makes me aware of the situation. And no, I'm not listening to other people's soapbox and fearmonger and blah, blah, blah. But the whole point of it is that if you are a hunter, if you are number one, if you are someone who's usually aggressive in your market, ain't no shame in that game, honey. you are going to rise to the top again. And once this lifts, not lists, I'm like, it's like the Freud thing. I just want to list a house.
A little Freudian.
Yeah. I'm just going to like subliminally put here, list your house.
List your house with me, virtually.
List your house. No, but honestly, like if you are someone who's top of your game, top of your market, when this does lift, not list, you will rise to the top again because it's just natural selection. You know what I mean? Number ones will always be number ones.
That's true. And you know what? The government's already talking about putting plans in action for lifting the restrictions. And that is warming up the entire market. That's making everybody aware that they're now essentially having permission to go back to a semblance of normal. I don't think that we'll ever be back to where we were a couple, 3, 4 months ago.
No, and there's talks about a second, sorry, Dust, there's talks about a second wave of the pandemic too coming, like in the fall and winter. So it's nice to see that they're gonna keep opening things up come end of May, but we have to keep prepared, right? So I think,
you know what, I'll use that as my parting comment of the day. There will be a resurgence. This is pandemic 101. Look back at all of the other pandemics that have ever happened that we've recorded over recorded history, and every single time, the first wave, it sucks. The second wave sucks more. It sucks more. It's worse a lot of times. And I'm not fear-mongering or anything like that, okay? So my message is this. This isn't going away. So in order for you to stay top of your game, you want to level up right now, you need to change your business model. Your business model must change, okay? However, little caveat to that, no judging, no soapboxing, no, I'm virtual, you need to do everything that I do because I'm right and you're wrong. That's not cool, man. It's not cool, and it's not 100% right either. Everybody's business is different. Everybody's version of virtual is different. But I do recommend that if you want to stay top of your game, if you were a level 1, a top-notch player before, and you want to stay on top of your game, you're going to have to change your business model. You will have to change that. Not 100%, at least a little bit. You need to be able to serve your customers the way they need to be served right now. Like, for example, Emily just went and got groceries today, and she was noticing that a lot of the elderly in our society were very frightened, right? Walking around with scared looks on their faces, right? For some of us, this might be a small threat. For others of us, it might be a massive, life-threatening threat. Literally, if you catch it, it's, I'm sorry, see you later. But that's their reality, right? So if you want to stay top of your game, change your business model so you can serve your customers, to make sure that they're safe and healthy, so you can do your job, and so you can continue to, my turn, continue to provide the value that you've always provided, just in a different way.
Yep. And there you have it, folks. Dustin's final thoughts. Thank you, Dustin, so much for wrapping that up eloquently. Again, if you've been listening, if you've been tuning in, you're listening to Level Up Nation with Stacey Freer and Dustin Pritchard of the Dustin Pritchard Real Estate Team. Thanks again for your time, guys. Leave your comments below if you are fired up about this conversation. We want to talk to you, and we will see you next time.
All right. Ciao for now.